Hey, good morning. We're officially starting now. Hello. My name is
Sweet.
my name is Emil Ström. Hello. Certified freak on Unreal Engine 7 days a week. So this is Unreal. Maybe I should go from the very beginning. Epic Games Launcher. Library. Nope. Don't go there. Unreal Engine. Library. Launch. Wasn't that nice? Yeah, so today we're not actually gonna be doing C++ today. Um, I thought we'd just like spend one lesson just to get kind of acclimated with the engine, seeing what's going on, what the basic concepts are, like how it's different from Unity, before we actually start diving into the C++ side of things. Um, so let's fucking do it. We want to make architecture, of course. Oh, we're gonna make games. I have no idea what the difference between these are. Um, yeah, so there's a bunch of templates here that you can sort of start out with. They've made some example things here that you can sort of try out, or you can go blank if you want to, just like completely blank. I'm actually gonna go with the third-person one. That's the most popular one. That's the one everyone goes with to start. That's why this example level, I've seen it in so many fucking work tests in my life. Well, not work tests, but okay. So here, when I actually hit next, when I've selected my template, here we can select if we want to work with Blueprint only, which is their visual scripting system, or if we want to have C++ and Blueprint. So of course we're coders. I'm gonna select C++. However, I fucked up yesterday, and or not yesterday. Whenever I told you to download this, I remember you actually have to get the engine source to actually do C++. It's quite easy. I posted like a step-by-step picture here how to do it. You just go into options and then engine source, and debugging symbols is highly recommended. Um, but since we're gonna do Blueprint today, it's fine. You can select Blueprint here, and then you can just remake a C++ project on Wednesday. But I'm gonna choose C++ because why not? Select quality. There's only two. I don't know. Ray tracing. We can do ray tracing. Fucking. What is the meme? Like RX on? I don't know. Can do mobile. Here's some starter content. I'm not quite sure what's in the starter content. I've actually never used it, but let's not do that. Alright, and I'm gonna select where we want it. I want it in Unreal folder, and I'm gonna call it FG Unreal. Gonna put it in the FG folder. There we go. It's thinking. Let's get close to Steam VR here.
Emil,
What?
can you check chat? I got an error.
What?
I don't know.
I mean, can you just hit OK?
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Just closes the
Do you have to
error.
install net? Oh. Okay, we're gonna go through together how to install .NET SDK.
But
Apparently,
don't I have that shit? Like,
apparently not the
why
newest
am I
one.
the only one don't have it?
Yeah, cause you're
Why the-
fucking the computer's cursed.
Why the fuck do you need .NET?
Well, a bit of the source code is written in C#.
Why?
Just Google fucking .NET framework.
Yeah, they sent me a link.
Okay,
Thanks.
good, cool. Yeah, you get it going on that. Yeah, Daniel, you need to that error. or that thing you got going there. You log out of the Epic Game Store, and then you hit like sign in later. Didn't work. Share your screen, Daniel.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you're on the block.
Okay, so I did the...
Yeah, there it is. Now you hit
Yeah,
sign in.
yeah. But when I press here, then I get back to the previous thing. Wait. I'm not gonna dox myself.
Can you show the password?
You shared the password. I couldn't see it. I want to try.
Yeah,
to
like
do it
there was an eye little on the side. Can you please press on?
My god, this sucks.
Don't worry, in the future your Epic account will get hacked anyway.
I
So.
couldn't see. Daniel, you did it too fast. Can I see your password, please? Because I'm trying to fix it too.
Yeah, could you?
Oh wait! Oh, now it works. Okay,
Daniel, you
no,
fuck.
I literally did
Daniel!
the exact same thing.
Daniel!
Oh my god. Okay, bye.
Daniel.
It just had to be Harrowfax.
Yeah, yeah.
Daniel.
Yeah, it works now. Thanks.
Daniel. Could you post the .NET link in chat so other people who have the same problem can get it?
Yes, David did, but it got flooded.
What the hell? They made this spin? Holy shit!
Whoa, that's crazy.
What the fuck? Damn, this engine rules. Open help URL. You're about to open external URL. Fucking hell yeah. Well, fantastic. Man, Unreal is starting out with a bad note. Okay, so this is Unreal. So we have the viewport in the middle, like controls to move around. It's just like, you know, industry standard. You can middle mouse click to drag. I have no idea how you rotate. Oh, left click. You can do sort of a drag rotate thing. However, I usually used to right click, so then you can do this driving mode just like in Unity. And you know, you can use the scroll wheel to slow down and speed up and stuff, and then E and Q to go up and down. Pretty standard. That's just play, so I'm gonna hit the play button up here. And now I'm playing. Why can't I jump? What the fuck is going on? Oh, space just makes him run. I don't know what's going on today. What the?
Jump.
You're supposed to be able to jump. Is it Shift, Alt, F, Z?
They cannot sprint though.
Yeah, you just can't jump for some reason. Oh, lol. Hold on. Oh, there we go. That's right. My keyboard was in the wrong mode. There we go. Yeah, so we can run around and jump. God, this lesson is fucking trash so far. It'll get better. I promise. Okay, so we can run around and jump. And then you can just hit escape to exit out of play mode. So. Man, where do I even start? So up here we have the outliner, which is like the inspector in Unity. So we'll show you all of the actors in the level. We'll talk a little bit more what an actor is in a little bit, but just to get acclimated a bit with the UI. We can
Hold
hit...
on. You mean it's like the hierarchy?
Is it called the hierarchy? I thought it was called the inspector in Unity.
No, I think inspector is more like the details window, no?
Oh, maybe it is. Oh, sorry. Then it's like the it's like the hierarchy in Unity. My bad. I click.
I thought you just said that this is gonna get better. Then you said something.
Shut
wrong
up!
again.
Shut your mouth!
How fucking dare you?
I'm sorry. I'm stressed. Okay.
Are you recording between?
Yes, I am recording.
Okay, you didn't forget that.
God, all my YouTube followers are gonna make so much fun of me. Okay, so you can click
Oh,
any of
5
the...
YouTube followers?
Yes,
Hi,
I love-
YouTube.
I love them. Okay, so you can click any of these actors to get details about them in the details panel. Quite nice. We are recording, yes. So, viewport, outliner, and then details. Over down here at the bottom, whoops. Over down here at the bottom, we have the content browser. So that's kind of like the, well, I think it's just called content browser in Unity as right? It's just like, yeah, it's checking out all the files where all your stuff is. We can go into view options, put on columns, because that's objectively the best mode. Or you can do list if you feel like that, so then you get some icons and stuff. You can sort of scroll around here. Pretty good. Oh yeah, you have like the tutorial button up here. So okay, yeah, let's check out the tutorial, guys.
We need selections when you have that.
The tools and okay. Oh god. Right mouse button, WASD. Wow. Okay, quit. Get me out of here. Exit. Okay. Right. So that's the content browser. I'm just gonna put it in columns. Over here we have the place actor window. So everything in Unreal is made on actors essentially. So here you have some basic actors that you can kind of place out. So we can go into lights, place out a point light here. Doesn't that look nice? Can attach him to the player real quick. So I'm just gonna put a light above the player. Then I'm gonna attach the point light to the player by just dragging the point light over to third person character over here. So there we go, that's the player. So there we go, I just attached a point light to the player. So now when I run around, I have a point light on top of my head. How nice. We have stuff like spotlight. Can drag that in. Oh yeah, the to manipulate stuff, it's the same as Unity, you know, WER for all of the different gizmos for translate, rotate, and scale. So you can drag around. You can drag this little, yeah, I mean it's a simple gizmo. You can drag this little corner here to drag into 2 dimensions. So it rotates. We can rotate it like this. Ta-da! Let's increase the intensity a little bit. Let's do 5,000. There we go. So now we have a very prominent spotlight here. And here, if we go to basics, we have stuff like cube. So we can build a little map with little cubes here. If you alt drag, so I'm gonna hold alt and then drag in one of the directions, you can duplicate, which is quite nice. So I'm just gonna duplicate a bunch of boxes together. Just select all of them. There we go, we have a map. Isn't that neat? Man, I'm guessing you guys are just like fucking like, holy shit, this engine is amazing. Kind of like cone. You can hit end if you wanted to snap to the ground, which is quite nice. I think it's like end. Boop. It snaps to the ground. I remember I remember at Future Games when they have built-in collision. All of these primitive actors here now I'm placing out to have collision, yes. Yeah, I remember Future Games. This was the most requested features from all the designers to be able to snap to ground. That was like the feature they wanted the most out of Unity.
What exactly is ground? Is it the 0 or is it like the object?
Yeah, it's just whatever. whatever. It just a little trace downwards and it just snaps to there. So
Wait,
whatever.
how did you snap it?
End. The end key.
Oh,
What key?
End.
You can quickly snap it to the player's head for a party.
Mine's German.
What? Oh! Here, put a little hat on him. Doot. Here, let's actually...
whoa!
Here, let's scale this down and give him a little hat.
Wait, so it's based on the collision, like collider?
Yeah, so it's just whatever it collides with.
Okay.
There we go.
So if the ground didn't have a collider, it wouldn't be able to
Here.
snap.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
it's Emil.
Fuck you! I was gonna make the same joke!
Predictable, that's boring.
Oh god. Okay, so you can also change the snapping. So you can see as I'm dragging it, it's kind of snapping around a little bit. So up here on the right, you can change the snapping settings. So this one is for translate. So here we can set the units to which to snap to. So let's do 100 for example. So now it's going to be really coarse. How much I can move it. What was the default? 10? Okay. Or you can turn it off completely by pressing this little snapping button here. So then we can move it however we wish. Or I can go into, down here in details, I can go and drag these position settings manually when I have the actor selected. And the same thing for rotation. I can snap rotation. Why did this open up? Oh, divisions of 360. Oh, okay, that's cool. So you can change the snapping for rotation or turn it off completely. Same for scaling, of course. Okay. I'm just gonna reset everything. So you can go down here. If I click this little cone that I just made, down here. Be quiet, phone. Okay. Down here we have the little the little arrows here. Next to the rotation, scale, and location, because I've changed them. So I can just click those to reset those back to whatever the default was. Can also hit this lock button, which will only make it be able to be scaled uniform, which is quite nice. So if you don't want your designers to do this, then you might want to hit this lock button. Now let's give him a hat. Let's see. Let's scale this down. Can turn off snapping. There we go. Wait. Perfect. Damn, it looks so cute. So I'm gonna attach that to the player. You can right click an actor. So I'm gonna right click the cone. And then we can hit attach to here. And we get a list of everything, so we can search for the player character. But I could also just do, whoops. I can also just hit this little picker here. So hit pick. Third person character 2 is incompatible. And click this little donger here. No. I have no idea why. Is he not in the list? Why is he incompatible? What the hell? Huh. Can I attach... oh, it's static. Lol. Okay, yeah. So the problem is that... the problem is that if you place an actor like this, or... it's kind of a weird quirk that sometimes you remember and sometimes it kind of fucks you in the ass. Yeah, the problem is if these actors here, these like little default actors, the blocks, the cylinders, the planes, and so on, they're marked as static, alright? And the problem, or the purpose of this, is that these are supposed to be done in the level, right? You're supposed to place out cubes. For some reason, cubes are such an important part of level designing. And then there's supposed to be baked lighting, and they're supposed to look good. And also it speeds up some collision stuff. So that's why they're marked as static. And that means they cannot move. There's nothing in the game that could make them move once we're playing the game. And that's of course why I can't attach him to the player, because the players are gonna move. So it's detecting like, hey, you're trying to attach a static object to something that's movable. You can't do that. So I'm just gonna mark it as movable. Stationary, I can be changed in game but not moved. I've never used stationary, so I'm not quite sure. It says cache dynamic shadows. I don't know. I've always done like static or movable, but apparently stationary is the thing. Maybe that's good for something. Okay, so I made it movable. So now I'm gonna put this on his head. Alright, there we go. And now I'm gonna attach. I'm gonna do attach to, and then the little pick icon, and pick the player. So now the player has a hat. Well, we have some problems.
Did the stream freeze?
What?
Did the stream freeze?
No, not for me.
No, I'm checking it out. Okay.
You froze.
Are you installing at the same time?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, then blame Teams.
Okay. So how did you attach the thing?
I right-clicked the cone, attach to, and then I used the picker to pick out the player. I had to make it movable first. Okay, so now we can't move. And also the hat doesn't follow the player's model. It only follows his like base position. So the thing with collision, right? And this is kind of the thing that's a good transition from how is everything structured compared to Unity. Where in Unity, there's no such thing as an actor, right? There's only entities, and they're all the same. Like entity is just entity, right? And then you place components onto the entity to actually add functionality, right? So you would add a script to move, or you would add a mesh drawer and a mesh filter, and collision and stuff like that. Whereas in Unreal, you have actors, all right? And an actor, you can kind of see it like a prefab in Unity, where a prefab in Unity is sort of a predefined hierarchy of entities and components, right? It is kind of like that. So if I click the player here, so I've selected the player, and I check out the details. Here I can see something that looks quite similar to how Unity would work, right? We would have a capsule, and it has a mesh, and it has a camera boom, and a follow camera. So there are components, right? So these are all components on the player's actor. So it has a capsule component, a mesh component, a camera boom, a follow camera, and so on. The difference is that an actor, unlike a prefab, an actor also has functionality. So you can program an actor to do something. And it's not just the components doing the work. So in Unity, right, the components will be doing all the heavy lifting. Whereas in Unreal, the actor and components sort of work together to do whatever you want to do. And it's kind of a design decision where you put code in the actor or whether you put code in components and so on. It's always a hot topic. But we'll get into that later. And that's the reason. And that's the reason why the cone doesn't actually follow the model. See that? Because when you attach something to an actor, so here you can see that attach the cone actor to this third person character actor, it gets attached to its root component. So it's actually attached to the capsule right now. We're going on to 15.0. Yes, we're going to 15 today. Whereas if I wanted the cone to actually follow the mesh, I would have to attach the cone to the mesh here. And unfortunately there's no way to do that like this. Like in the world with two different actors. Unfortunately I cannot select on the cone that I want to attach you to a specific component. To a specific component on the player. However, what I can do instead, so I'm gonna remove this cone, and instead I'm gonna go to the player character. So I'm clicking the player character here. I'm gonna add a new component. So I'm gonna click add component, and I'll type cone. So now he has a skirt. Whoops. So now he has a skirt. So now you can see in this hierarchy of the player, now there's a cone component here, which is a static mesh component. So let's use the mesh. And now I can actually attach that to a specific component on the player. So I'm going to attach that to the mesh. So I can say I've attached the cone to the mesh. So now I can make sure to select the cone, so that I can move that around on the player. So each component has its own transform. Kinda. We'll talk about the specifics, but for now, each component has their own transform. So it's not like components in Unity, where there's the transform component, and then everything else is just sort of, you know, there, and using the transform component to know where to be. Instead, in Unreal, every component you add has its own transform, and they can be attached to each other. So a component in Unreal is much bigger, it has much more functionality built in than in Unity. Which is, you know, not a good or bad thing, it's just kind of, it's different. So now I can attach this hat to our mesh. Ta-da! There we go. So let's see what happens now. Okay, now I can move. But the hat is still not attached to the head. So you can see it still doesn't really follow where the head is. This is really this isn't really like a, well, at least an attachment issue. It's because of the skeletal mesh component, how that works. Because the skeletal mesh doesn't actually move. It's all the bones that are moving when the animation is being played. I'm just going to show you how to do it. So I'm just going to click the cone component. This isn't really important to anything, it's just to get acclimated here. I'm just going to hit the cone component. I'm going to scroll down in details. So now we're in the details for this specific cone component. Click cone. And then in the details, I'm going to go down to it's not here. Never mind. I guess you can't do this. You can select which bone you want it to be attached to, but I don't know. For some reason, I can't do it. Okay, well, whatever. I guess we can't. I guess we can't do it here. Whatever. You can select a bone here, but you just can't find it. Here, what if it's such a bone? Bone. Socket. Okay, whatever. But you have it in Portuguese. You don't have Portuguese. What are you saying? That's English. Oh, I like the header. Yeah, I see it. Okay, whatever. I fucked up. But anyway, so yeah, we can take an actor. Even though an actor, like a prefab, has its sort of predefined component structure. That's why you see the inherited here. It's because this component comes from the comes from the actor, you know, like in a prefab. We can still add components to it as we see fit. So if we want to have some predefined actor, but in some level we wanted to actually have some additional functionality, we can add components to it. Kind of like Unity, right? If you drag out the prefab, you can still add stuff to it if you feel like you want to. Cool. So yeah. So everything is actors with components on them. Let's make an actor, alright? I think we're ready. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to content here. In the content browser, I'm just gonna right click and we're gonna add a blueprint class. So this is how we make a new actor. So here we have to pick a parent class. So this is the second thing about Unreal that's quite different from Unity, is that Unreal is kind of built upon inheritance, which is not great.
Wait, how did you get that window?
Right click in the content browser, create new assets, and then blueprint class. So right click, blueprint class. So yeah, so Unreal is kind of built upon an entire inheritance. You don't have to use it, like you can inherit everything for an actor, which is kind of like the base class. You can see it like that. But you can see it also gives us some other actors that they think are useful to inherit from. We can have pawn, character, player controller. Like we're gonna talk about all of this later. We can also go into all classes to inherit from a very, very specific class if we have something that we really, really want to inherit from. But we're just gonna inherit from actor, kind of the base class here. Let's call it my first actor. There we go. So now
What did we make?
sorry,
What parent class did we make?
actor. I'm just gonna double click it. Double clicky. Double click my first actor here. If you get brought into this window, where you only see essentially it's a spreadsheet, that's if you haven't made any changes. So you haven't added any components or you haven't added any code. Then you just want to click this open full blueprint editor here. So you get into this window. So here's the event graph. This is blueprints. So blueprints is Unreal's scripting language, which is a visual scripting language, infamously. So it's all about boxes and lines rather than code. And they're super proud of it. They're like, oh, you can make everything in blueprints, which I don't recommend, but you could probably. I remember my teacher back in Future Games, he was obsessed with blueprint. Like he was like he works now as like an Unreal Engine. What do you call it? Like someone who like just goes around and talks about how Unreal Engine is the best engine ever. And he was just like
Evangelist.
evangelist, yes. And he was so proud that his game Solus, that he made that using only blueprints. He was just like, it's all blueprints, it's all blueprints. And he would show us his massive blueprint graphs, and you could see, like, as he was showing, it was like 2 FPS when he was scrolling through it. And then it's like, you could see a tear going down his eyeball as he was just like, I made this. This is my baby. And then it just turned out he had some, like, basement coder doing all the hard stuff behind the scenes, and he didn't talk about it. But yeah, he was super into like, yeah, everything should be done in blueprints, which I don't fully I don't share that, but whatever, you do you. But we're gonna talk about this just a little bit. First, I'm gonna go to viewport. All right, so you see these 3 tabs here. We have viewport, construction script, and events graph. I'm gonna go into viewport. Whoa, whoa. Okay. So here is where we construct our actor. We construct the component structure of our actor. So we have a default scene route here. Which is just what happens for when you make an actor in the editor. You just get one little scene component here as to start off. Let's add a cube. So I'm gonna hit add component cube. Whoa. So now on our first actor we have a default scene route and then a cube attached to that. So we have some sort of root component here, and then we have a cube attached to that. So now we can move this around and rotate and stuff. Turn snapping back on. So let's make something. Let's make I'm gonna make the fuck is it called, like the wither from fucking Minecraft. So I'm gonna duplicate this. Just Control C, Control V to duplicate. Gonna move, make a little arm. Let's see, move this around. There we go. And then let's give him a head. So we got another cube. There we go. That's the wither from. Actually, it kind of looks like a skeleton, honestly. So the cubes, unlike in Unity, where just drawing a cube would be multiple components, right? It would be the mesh filter, it would be the mesh renderer, and then you would also have maybe collision if you wanted that. So that would be like 3 components just for those 3 things. Whereas in Unreal, the cube component, which is actually a static mesh component, it's not the cube component isn't actually, I think it's a static mesh component, but it has all of that built in. So we scroll up, here we have the materials, here we have the actual mesh that's being drawn, so I can actually, if I hit the cube and I click here, I can actually change which mesh this should be. Maybe generic head-mounted display. Yeah, let's make him fucking VR. It's super tiny for some reason. There we go. Yeah, there we go. We have the material here, so we can change how it looks. Let's make him. Yeah, it looks great. That's just some random material here. And we have collision. We also have physics. That's turned off right now, but we have physics here if you wanted to simulate this this thing. Here we have collision. We're not going to talk about the collision settings right now. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But all of that stuff is built into the static mesh component. And that is why when I added stuff, like I added a cube and everything, even though they only have 1 component, right? All they have is a static mesh component. But I can still just jump on them and everything, and it just works. It just works, guys. It just works. That's Unreal, baby. See, guys, it's so easy. And yeah, we can also do physics. So if I just drag these guys up, select them all. Just gonna drag them up and rotate them a little bit. Oh yeah, the gizmo, you can change it from world to local mode. You can see now that I'm in world mode. So I'm rotating around the world's Z-axis, X-axis, and Y-axis. You can change it from world to local by hitting... It's not X, I thought about X, but you can hit this thing here. What is actually control... control back thing, back tick. Okay, whatever. You can click this button to switch it from world to local mode. So now it'll be rotating around its local Z, X, and Y axis. The same for translate and so on. Cool. So I'm gonna select all of them, and then I'm gonna let's just close this. I'm gonna select all of them, and then I'm gonna go to simulate physics. Let's see what happens. Oh god. And there we go. They have physics now. Man, I just landed in such neat little rows. Except for that one. Okay. Anyways, tangents. So that's our actor. Let's place him into the world. Let's introduce him to our player. So I'm just gonna drag it out from the content browser here. I'm just gonna drag it out. Damn, he's big! Holy fuck! Damn, he's thick. Okay, there we go. So that's our actor. So now I can just drag him out into the world and, you know, he does its thing. Hello, I am VR Man. Welcome to the world of virtual reality. Okay. Yeah. So he's there. And since we didn't disable collisions, we can just jump on VR Man. Since he has collisions. So that's pretty neat. Well, his head has a kind of a weird collision, it seems like, but... Yeah. Let's make him a little bit smaller. it's gonna be quite unwieldy to work with if he's that big. I'm just gonna stay there and scale everything down a little bit. 1 second. Yeah. Scale down. Scale down. Scale down.
Is there like an equivalent to like apply to prefab in Unity? Like if you scaled it down in the scene, and then could you like apply that to the blueprint somehow?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm gonna try. Maybe there's a button they've added. Yeah, the scaling is a little bit weird.
Whoa! Holy shit! You got a shield! Oh my god.
Let's see if I do that. No, I don't think there's an apply. Yeah. So if you want to do a permanent change, you have to go into the actor editor. But yeah, you can see if I change it in the actor window here, you can see it changes in the world immediately.
Oh, nice.
Okay, VR Man, you're gonna get a little bit of a makeover. Hold on. Hold tight, buddy. Yep. 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 Okay. Cool. Whoa, your arm got fucked up there. Hold on, I'm just gonna reset that. Yeah, so you can see if I reset the defaults here. So what I did was, this arm is kind of fucked up. So I just kind of went into the arm here. I selected the correct cube in the hierarchy here on the actor. So these defaults are based on what the actor's settings are. So they don't reset to like 0 or anything. They just kind of reset to what it was in the default actor. So the actor editor is kind of like prefabs in Unity. Yes. Yes. Oh really, Alphonse? Let's see it. And the blueprints. Oh wow! Apply instance changes to blueprints. Holy shit!
Whoa.
Wow, that's amazing. I've never
Big.
seen that before. It's a good find. Cool. Fuck is Steve VR? Okay, so yeah, you can also whoops. So you can also go click this edit blueprint, open blueprint editor, just to get in here. What's it? Add or edit script. Open the blueprint for this asset. Oh, okay, that just opens this. Okay, cool. All right, I think we're ready for blueprints. So let's make this fucker move. Let's make him scary. So So we're gonna have to do that in Blueprint to start coding this fucker. So I'm gonna go into my first actor here. God, it's so tiny. Details go down. Give me some room. There we go. So I'm gonna go into the actor, and then I'm gonna hit event graph. So here's where most of the code happens. So it's based on events. So here you can see there's 3 already kind of here for us. There's begin play, there's actor begin overlap, and then there's tick. So there's 3 events here that we can start using. And you know, these are like Unity, right? If you override begin play, that happens. That's like, what is it called? Start in Unity or awake. So I'm gonna just drag out from the execution pin here. So that's called exec. I'm just gonna drag out and hit type print. So we have print string here. It's most default node ever. So it's drag out from begin play and type print string.
How do we get into this window?
Is double click our actor that we made, and then go into event graph.
Okay, thanks.
God, I've never destroyed. I've never seen a more destroyed woman than Tove right now. You look so tired.
I'm doing my best over here.
Yeah, you're doing just great. The font couldn't be smaller. Yeah, you can zoom. You can like zoom out to see all of your fine work. You can also zoom in more with control if you really want to get close and personal to your blueprints. So if you control scroll, you can actually go in a little bit further. I'm gonna do that just for clarity. So we're gonna print hello. I'm gonna print something else actually. I'm gonna print hello from VR man. Very good. So if I click this arrow down here, we get some more stuff that we can actually change. So we get some advanced nodes here. So we can select if we want to print to screen or log or both. Can change the color. So I'm gonna change the color to pink. And we have the duration. So let's just leave those and let's see what happens. I'm just gonna compile and save. You don't really have to do this. It kind of does it automatically when you play, but it's just kind of a habit. So if you see me like compile and save, it's just a habit that I've sort of picked up. So now if I hit play, we see hello from VR man up here. Hello from VR man. Hello from VR man. So begin play runs if the actor's in the level. It runs when the game starts or when you spawn an actor. So it's like start in Unity or begin. I don't remember what the name is.
Sorry to interrupt you. Where was I supposed to go to get to that menu again?
Which menu?
The one where you added like the first script to Hello World.
Oh, double click the actor. And then event graph.
Yeah.
And then you just drag out from begin play. So you drag out from the exec pin here. And then you just print. God, it's laggy. Holy shit. Unreal, get your shit together. Yeah, I need to get more RAM, guys. Alright, so we can increase the duration a little bit, just so we can see it. So I'm gonna increase the duration to 50. So that's 50 seconds. So now it's gonna be on there forever. No one's gonna play my game for more than 50 seconds, I don't think. So now if I play, we can see hello from VR man. It's up here. Oh yeah, when you're in the game, if you want to get access to the cursor, you can hit Shift F1. So then the cursor sort of unlocks, so you can press stuff. Hello from VR man. Cool. So let's move him then. So I'm gonna drag out from the print strings exec pin. I'm gonna call add actor world offset. So these are like functions. So I'm gonna move him 2,000 units up. Remember, Z is up in this engine. So don't get confused. We have some settings for sweep and teleport. We're not gonna worry about these. Z is up in real life. It's true. Alright, so now we should, on begin play, print hello from VR Man and move him up. What could go wrong? And there he goes. Bye-bye. So that was kind of quick. Like, since we didn't begin play, we didn't really have a chance to see him move. So very neat features about blueprints is that you can do stuff like this. You can do, I'm gonna drag out from print string. I'm gonna do delay. So delay. So execution goes like this, right? It begins at begin play, and then it just follows the exec pins, right? So it goes from begin play to print string, so print string runs. Then it goes from print string to delay, and what delay will do is wait a certain amount of time, let's say 2 seconds, and then after 2 seconds have gone by, it goes to completed, and then goes to add active world offset. So it's kind of nice that you can do this non-temporal, or sorry, you can do these temporal things in the blueprints. They're not like have to be sequential like code, like there's no way to like jump out and then come back in. You can do stuff like this, which is, I guess, the comparison would be what do they call subroutines in Unity? What are they called? Like the enumerator.
Coroutines.
Coroutines, right? Yes, it's kind of like coroutines in Unity. So now we should print, then wait 2 seconds, and then move upwards. And let's print also. Let's say like, let's print. My world, my people need me. See what happens. My people need me, and then it's up. So he waits 2 seconds, and then disappears. Bye bye. Bye, VR man. Cool. So you can see that all the prints kind of show up here, and then the ones that expire just kind of go away, but then the longer ones still stick around. So that's quite nice. I like the print feature in Unreal. It's quite neat.
Can you decide where it prints, or is it always like top left?
It's always top left.
Right. Think.
Okay.
Is the top left thing like the console output basically, or?
Not really, because we also have a console output here. So that's what, you know, in here, if we see print to log and print to screen, we have 2 different options.
Okay, so we're printing to screen. Okay.
Yeah, so we're printing to screen, but we can also see down in the log, you see an entry was added here to my people need me. So sometimes you just want to print a log if it's something like, okay, this is, you know, maybe I'm printing a lot of things and I need to like save it to a text file to review later. And sometimes you just want to print to the screen, like if you're printing every frame, which is quite common. Then you don't want to spam the log with a bunch of prints that don't really matter. Like if you're monitoring a value or something.
Wait, I don't have the log. How do I open it?
Go to Window, Developer Tools, Output Log.
You know, in Unity, how there is like one scene view where you like can preview the game through more of an editor mode, and then you have game view where you can see the game through the game's camera that might be static or something. Is there something like that in Unreal?
Yes, there is. So if I hit play here, whoa, Jesus Christ, and I detach the mouse, there's this eject button here. So if I hit eject, now I'm actually in sort of editor mode. So I can fly around the camera like normal. The game's still running, but I'm sort of flying around the camera. So I can move stuff. Sort of play around with things. Bye-bye.
Right.
But you can't have like two windows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in Unity.
I've never tried, but there are multiple viewports. So yeah, I can open viewport 2 here.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
something
okay.
like that.
But I'm not sure if I possess here. Oh, I actually can. Holy shit, I didn't know. So yeah, you can have one... Oh, never mind. Oh, this is its own... This is its own thing. Holy shit.
So so the second viewport is not playing right now.
No,
just...
it's like a whole different instance. That's interesting. Didn't know that.
Oh.
What happens if I stop now? Okay, it got moved. So they're working in the same world. It's just that one wasn't in the play world. That's interesting. I've never done this. I haven't seen any designers work with two viewports, but potentially useful. I think it's mostly used for like architecture stuff, where you have like one side view and one top view and shit like that. Is it a common issue that the add menu auto closes inside the graph editor? No. I think you're clicking. Like just drag and release, and then type. If you hit right click anywhere, then it closes. What the hell? It's invisible. Man, this Unreal is just... What's going on? Is it OBS? I think it's OBS fucking with things. Or maybe the screen share. Let's take a break. I need coffee. Let's take 50 minutes actually. So let's come back 11:20. Alright? Grab a snack. Have a blast. Okay, bye-bye.
See you in 50 minutes, guys.
You sounded like a coach there. You sounded like a football coach. It's like, okay, 50 minutes, guys. Come on, get your brain in there.
No, you said 50 minutes.
No, but you said it in a funny way. Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Cheers.
I still can't find the damn window with the whatever blueprint thing. Took like a while to install the software, so I'm like half an hour behind.
So, did you have some problems, Daniel? Daniel? Daniel!
He is about to sit down, don't worry.
Which then?
There he goes.
Daniel!
Yo.
You can listen to David in the background meanwhile.
Oh, is he screaming? It's like, fucking
They're
Unreal
talking
shit!
about taxes.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Sounds like a hoot. Denial. Denial. Daniel. Denial.
Yeah.
Not you.
Uh,
Bruh. Well. I'm just waiting for my coffee to brew. Thoughts so far? Feelings? Emotions?
PogChamp.
Thanks.
Very different, but at the same time pretty similar to Unity.
Yes. Yeah, some concepts are quite similar, but
I don't like visual scripting, and I don't think I'm gonna start now.
yeah, it's not my favorite either. I'll say that.
Have you tried Unity's visual scripting?
No.
Good.
What is the plugin called for the visual scripting?
It's like Bolt or something.
Oh, yeah.
Just type something stupid and it will give you.
Well, you guys are lucky. It's much harder going the other way, going from visual scripting to C#. Tell you that.
Is it because like for visual you have to install the plugin already, so that's already harder step?
What? No, with Unreal, everything is already.
Oh,
done.
you mean Unreal?
Yeah,
Yeah,
from
okay.
going to Unreal to Unity. Yeah, Unity was always the most hated course before Future Games became a Unity school.
I have a small question.
Shoot.
You know how you attach like the code in the like world outliner first?
Yeah.
Like, what's the purpose of that if what you usually want to do is like add it to the details thingy, like the prefab or whatever?
Well, sometimes if you have stuff like a moving platform or something like that, something like spins or something, you want to have two separate actors, like one actor for the moving platform and maybe have like a button or something that I can press. That's a separate actor. You might want to attach those in the world outliner.
Okay.
But if it's just like a component or something like a hat, then yeah, you probably want to do that in the actor thing.
So how are you supposed to think about, or like, so like, I don't know, I'm having a hard time, like, what's the use case? Or like, how are you supposed to think about it if you're gonna attach them in the world outliner versus as a hat?
Well,
Yeah.
there's no clear-cut case, I'll tell you that. There's
Okay.
unfortunately no clear-cut case. It's just kind of a feeling. It's just kind of like, does it feel right to attach in the world outliner, or does it feel right to add as a
Okay.
component? It's like, mostly it's like when it can't be a component, like when it's in its own actor, like it's because you can't really attach actors in the actor editor here. Like there are child actors, but I would actually advise you not to use them because they're cursed. But yeah, that's the tricky case when you have like two actors that need to be attached to each other, and that's usually when you have to go into the world outliner. But it's not an everyday thing for sure. It's mostly like when building a level, like maybe.
So it's usually like for statics things?
Yeah, kinda. Like when you let's say I want to have this as just one thing, I could group them. Of course, that's what.
Wait, what? Oh no. The grouping is another thing?
Yeah, you could group them
Oh, no.
together. What? Okay, my Unreal is. I'm just gonna restart. Something has gone horribly wrong.
It's probably the motherboard that's melting.
Yeah, probably.
Doxed. We saw your wallpaper.
Oops. So you can kind of group actors together. I have never done this. They were a group. So now this is just one group that we can move together. The baked lightning, nice. Looks so nice. But sometimes you might want to have everything attached to one root actor. Sometimes, I don't know. It's not definitely not like an everyday sort of thing.
Alright, cool.
Cool. Hey Daniel, did you solve your problem? Turnen, hello?
Oh yeah. I'm just figuring out how to make the thing move. I don't remember what it was called, the event.
Oh, add actor world offset. Looks like this.
Oh, okay.
I'll go grab some coffee. Okay. Right.
Quick question.
Yep.
In the add actor world offset thing, what's the difference between what the thing is doing now compared to checking the teleport?
Right. So teleport. So when you add a world offset like this for stuff like physics. So if we would do this on one of these guys, like add actor world offset, it would see that as like a physical move. So it will gain like a lot of velocity because it will say like, oh, you moved this amount in this frame. That means we must have a very high velocity, so it will start shooting up. But with teleport, it will just sort of say like, just set the location, don't do anything physical with it. So stuff like cloth and everything like that would get preserved, so the cloth won't go crazy. But yeah. All right. Where were we? Right. He's moving. Let's do tick. So in Unity it's called update. In Unreal it's called tick. So that happens every frame. I remember our my teacher back in the day. He didn't even teach us about tick. He just told us like never use tick, which was an interesting. It was an interesting concept. I remember, I understand where you came from, because I know that an over-reliance on tick will make your game chug, of course, because there's a lot of things that has to be done every frame. But yeah, don't avoid it. It's fine. So I am going to add an offset on tick. Alright, let's do 2000 every tick. Let's go. And there he goes. I can't even see him. See if we can find him. Where the hell is he? Oh, there. Yeah, there he goes. Let's eject and follow him. So you can hit F to put the camera around an actor. Well, I mean, I can't even find it, but yeah, he's out. Yeah, of course. He's gonna move 2,000 units every frame, which is quite a lot. So let's do 20. See what happens now. Okay, there we go. So now he's still moving quite fast, but bye-bye. Oh, dude, I have some sweet cheeks. Look at this. Holy fuck. Alright. Too hot for YouTube. So we want to multiply this by delta time, alright? How do we do that? Well, you can see that these, all of the inputs to a function, all of the parameters are these little pins, these little input pins. And you can see that we can set the default value here, right? We could just write like 40, like use hard-code a value. But what we can do is actually drag out from here and do some calculations to figure out what this delta location should be. So I'm just gonna drag out. I'm gonna hit multiply. Or I'm just gonna type multiply. Or use the multiply symbol. And then here we can see we have 3 functions that we can choose from. We can have vector times float, vector times integer, or vector times vector. So I'm gonna do vector times float. So here we have a node that's a vector float multiplication. Just gonna reconnect the exec pin here. So drag out from delta location, type multiply, and then the multiply vector times float. So now I'm going to type in a vector here, so we're going to move 2,000 units a second. I know maybe you Unity people are freaking out, but 1 unit in Unreal is actually quite a small distance, so 1 centimeter right in this scale here. So 1 unit would be, like if I do go from 900 to 901, right? Like you barely move at all. So 2,000 units actually isn't all that much in Unreal land.
Wait, so if I heard correctly, 1 unit in Unreal is basically 1 centimeter.
Yes.
So that means 900 units is 99 meters.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I guess so, yeah. I think that's how centimeters work. So yeah, so 2,000 times a float, and of course we can use either hard code a float here, so we can do like 2,000 times 5, or we can drag out from this pin, and here we have delta seconds. So that's an output pin from tick. So with tick we get the exec pin, but we also have delta seconds, and that's of course the delta of this frame. So we can drag from delta seconds into this input pin for the multiply.
How did you get the multiplication for adding the offset?
Drag out from delta location, then use a star or multiply.
Okay.
And then I picked vector times float.
Yeah.
What is the objective of us learning this if you're just gonna do code later? Well, the problem is that you cannot do just code in Unreal. You're gonna be working with designers, you're gonna be working with artists, and the good thing about this is that it's very easy for artists and designers who aren't interested in code to work with. And that means your code is gonna have to work with blueprints. And to make your code able to work with blueprints, you have to understand how blueprint works. So the problem is that this is part of the engine and you have to learn it, because at the end of the day, even if you sit in code all day, you're gonna have to interface with blueprints. Yeah, so delta seconds times 2000. So now we're gonna move 2000 units per second. And there it goes. Maybe 2000 was a little bit much. Let's do 200. Okay, there we go. When we code, are we gonna basically make these blueprint nodes? Yes, essentially. All right, let's make it move forward instead of just up. So what I'm gonna do, instead of hard coding an up vector here, what I'm gonna do is drag out and I'm gonna type get actor forward vector. It's a little unfortunate pin placement here, but that's okay. So taking the forward vector, timesing that by delta seconds, and then putting that into add actor wall offset. So now we should be moving forwards, which I think actually is going to be backwards. Wait. Okay, let's see. Well, it doesn't really seem to be moving at all. Let's see. Gonna click him. So I just ejected now, like eject. And I just clicked him. So he's moving. Just very, 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 very slowly. And of course, like I said, 1 unit in Unreal is actually not that much. And of course, this active forward vector is going to be normalized, so it's just going to have a length 1. So that means it's going to be moving 1 unit per second. Not great. So we have to multiply this by some speed. And let's actually take this tangent and go into variables. Over here we can see we have a tab called variables. So you can have variables in blueprints. Yes, I chose actor as the base when I made the blueprint class. Did you drag out here? And then get actor forward vector. You have to make sure to drag out from the vector, not from the float. Oops. If you drag out from the float, you won't find it. Because you have this context sensitive here, which means that it will take the input pin, or what output you're looking for, into account. And since get actor forward vector does not return a float, it returns a vector, it won't show up in the list if you drag out from float. What was the name of the X thingy? What X thingy? Oh, multiply, yeah. You can also use type multiply. Maybe you can even type X. No. Okay, never mind. Okay. So let's multiply this by some speed, and let's make a variable for a speed. So that's kind of like properties in, fields in Unity. So you can make fields for your components, and that's the variables here. So I'm just gonna hit plus variable. So now we have a variable. It's called new var underscore 0. I'm gonna name it speed. And this little rectangle here to the left, that's the type. So which type this specific variable is. It's gonna hit it, and then we have a bunch of types. We can make it essentially anything. Here are some default ones though that mostly are used. I'm gonna make it a float. So we have a float speed. Float speed, float speed, float speed. Oh yeah, sorry. These things, the color is which type it is. All right. So green means float, orange is vector, blue is actor reference or actor pointer. So we're gonna red is bool. It's fine if you don't remember that. You'll remember eventually.
Wait, what was yellow again?
Yellow is vector.
Okay.
So that's why I knew that this one was the vector and this one was the float, because I looked at the colors. Sorry, colorblind people. You'll have to hover to get what type it is. Okay, so now that we have a speed, I'm just gonna drag it out. So we drag speed out here, and then we have a little sub menu here that's either get or set. So get will make a little node for us here, which provides the speed value. Or we can have a set, which we use for setting the variable. So maybe in begin play, I would set it to, 5,000. Let's do 200. So I'm going to set speed to 200 here. And then, when we're moving, I'm going to multiply the forward vector by speed before I multiply with delta time. So here I'm going to do multiply by float. Just drag out from the return value here, multiply by float. Multiply with speed, then multiply by delta time. So now this entire equation is active forward vector active forward vector times speed times delta seconds. So that's the entire equation there. Mathematics, unfortunately, is not the nicest thing to do in blueprints, but sometimes you have to do it.
How do I connect the variable with like begin play?
You just drag out and then set. And then you drag the exec pin to where you want it to happen.
Okay.
If you want it to happen before print or after print.
Is there any other way to set the variable, or is that the only way you can set it?
You can also set it here. So I have to compile first. But if I compile and hit speed, here we can set the default value of speed as well. If we want to do it, let it have a default value instead of setting it when given play. Okay, so now we should be moving in the forward vector in the speed. Yeah, forward vector times speed. So let's see what happens. Okay, and there he goes. Of course, I kind of fucked up the forward vector of the actor there. Seems like the forward vector turned out to be actually the left. So let's just rearrange the components a little bit, just to make sure that the forward is actually forward. So the forward vector in Unreal is the x-axis, so I can look down here in the left. How to if, etc. Well, let's look at that in a little second. So here I have the Z, Y, and X. So I want the forward vector to be X here, and obviously right now it's looking in the Y direction. So I'm just gonna select everything and just rotate. Well, that fucked up. I don't think you actually can rotate like that. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually gonna attach everything to a different component. So the problem is that I cannot I almost said rotate, which would have been very bad. I cannot rotate the root component. So the problem is, or the reason is that The root component is actually the transform of the whole actor. So when I'm rotating the actor around like this, what I'm actually doing is rotating the root component. So if I click the root component here, you can see that it has been rotated and it's also moved. So that's why you cannot rotate the root component in the actor browser, because that's the transform of the actor itself. So instead, essentially what I would do if I rotated the root component is that I would just be rotating the actor in the level. So I'm gonna make a new root component, or another component that I'm gonna attach everything to. So I'm just gonna add a new scene component. So scene component is, you know, the most basic component that you can have essentially. It's just a component that has a transform. That's essentially it. It's the most lowest you can go. Kind of. But let's just say that now. It's the most basic you can go. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna attach everything to this new scene component that I made. So now we have our default scene root, and then a scene component, and then a bunch of cubes. And then what I can do is just rotate this new root that I made. So I'm just gonna rotate that. And since everything is attached to it, then everything rotates with it. So I'm just gonna rotate VR Man so that it's facing the X direction. If I look down here, you can see that his visor is aligning up with the X component here. So now forward looks like forward.
Could you see the like scene component basically as the empty game object in Unity? Like it has nothing but sort of a relation and a position.
Yes, I would say that, yeah. Scene component is like an empty game object. Or a game object with only a transform component it would be. But yes. That's an excellent analogy. So now he's actually moving in his forward direction. He's gonna get you. He will kill you. So now if I spawn a bunch of these guys, VR Man is not to be trifled with. They will all move in their separate forward vectors. Cool. And even if I tilt them upwards, you know, he will go up. Bye bye. Basically, Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't get that reference, but okay. So, reference that it's bad. Spitting hot takes over here. So, what if I want to be able to tweak the speed, right? So let's say this was an enemy, and I want the designers to be able to tweak this, so that each enemy can have their own unique speeds. It's a new enemy, you know. I kind of want to make that public, you know, like in Unity, if you make something public or serialized field, it will sort of show up in the inspector and you can tweak it. So the way you do that, if I go into the actor again and then click on the variable, there's a little eye here. So if I click the eye, so it's open. Now it will be instance editable. You can see that here, instance editable. So the eye is open. So now, if I click on one of these boys, you can see we have a new default header here, and then we have the speed here, so I can tweak the speed. And if I hit the arrow, it goes back to its default 200. So let's make one go really slow. 75. And let's make one go really fast. 3000. Also, I give you a nice little hot tip when you're testing out systems like this. What you can do is that instead of playing and then ejecting. Well, they all seem to go in the same speed. Instead of playing and then ejecting, what you can do is that you can click this little arrow next to play. You can select simulate here. So simulate will play the game, but you sort of start out as ejected. So then you can sort of look at how your game is playing out without having to, you know, eject. And you can possess whenever you want if you want to go back in. So simulate is quite nice to see how your game is running. Of course, they're not actually moving at different speeds, so that's kind of weird. Let's go in and debug that. Well, wouldn't you know?
Isn't it because you're setting the
Yes,
speed in
exactly.
the start?
There we go. So I just remove that bad boy. And there we go. Bye bye. And this guy is going really slowly. And I can tweak the speed in runtime if I want to. So if I want to speed him up, then I can do that. Then I'll click this guy and make him go backwards. Whoa! Okay, well, I went a little bit too fast. So that's variables.
How do I stop the blueprint window from like being always on top? If you get what I mean.
I don't think you can. No, I don't think there's any way to do that. Sorry. Put it on docket.
Yeah, I got that from Ruta.
I don't know if there's a way actually.
How do you make the speed multiply by the float value?
Like this. God, I'm so hungry. I don't know what to eat. Any suggestions for lunch for me?
Gravel.
What?
Pack of Doritos.
Oh,
Pretzels.
Fucking love pretzels. Actually, I've never had a pretzel. I don't know why I said that.
Do you have a Billy's
Disgusting.
at home? Emil, do you have a Billy's at home?
Do I have police at home?
A Billy's.
Yes, please. You will need some.
Billy's pan pizza.
Oh, gross.
When you have two, you can smack them together.
Oh God! They have Billy's sandwich. Oh, gross. All right. Let's do some collisions. All right. So let's say I want it that way. I want it to be like, so when I walk into some sort of aggro range, I want this guy to move. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna have some collision box. That is like, when I get too close to this guy, he's gonna start moving. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. So let's do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into this boy. I'm gonna add a sphere collision component. So add component, sphere collision. So here we have it. It's quite small. So either we could scale it, or we could just change the radius here in sphere radius. So let's make it, yeah, let's make it not so big. Let's do 700. So there we go. So now we have a sphere collision on this boy. I never wanna hear you say.
I couldn't get my thing to move.
It doesn't move? Have you set your speed at a default value?
don't even see that.
Click on the speed variable. And here should be a default value for your speed.
No, that's 0. But
Yeah.
it sets to 100 when it starts.
Oh. Show me. Show me
Oh,
the
still
way. What?
It still wouldn't work. Where the hell are you then?
I want you to know the darkness inside of me. Okay, so go into event graph. Oh, you haven't connected the exec pins.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
I knew that.
I knew that.
Thanks.
No problem, Bobby. No prob, Bob. Okay. So now we have a sphere collision here. A lot of settings on it, but we're not going to worry about that.
How did you add the sphere collision?
Add components. Search for sphere collision.
Okay.
Boom. So then, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna click the sphere collision. I'm gonna scroll down, and here we have a bunch of events. So we have a bunch of events on this sphere collision. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this on component begin overlap. So that's an event that's called every time this sphere collider collides with something else. So I'm gonna hit the plus there. Plus. And then we got a new event node in our graph, in our event graph. We could also select it and right click and do on component begin overlap. Just type it out and then we'll get the same thing. It's just two ways. Either hit the plus or just select it and type it out. So this will give us a bunch of things. We have which component that actually overlap with us. We have what the other actor was, so which actor we actually overlap with. Sorry, this overlap component is, it's our component that overlapped. So this will be sphere component always. Then we have other components, so that's the other component that we overlap with. Body index, not quite sure. I think that's a triangle. And then we have sweep and stuff, or whatever. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna print. Print. Hey! What was that noise? So let's see what happens. Let's play. So if I go close to him now. Hey, what was that noise? If I do it again, hey, what was that noise? Hey. Hey. To make it a little bit more visible, I'm actually gonna go into the sphere. And I'm gonna check here. Here's a bool hidden in game. So on the sphere collision, we have a bool hidden in game. I'm just gonna uncheck that. It's a nice debugging tactic. So that now, when I play the game, I actually see the sphere collision. So I can get a little bit more better look at what's happening. So as soon as I go into the sphere, boom, then we get the hey, what was that noise?
Wait, how did you show that thing?
Click the sphere collision, and then hidden in game. And I just uncheck that. You are my fire, the one desire. You are. Alright. So the last thing I'm gonna do before we take lunch is that I'm gonna have some aggro bool. So when we go into the aggro range, he's gonna start aggroing and start moving. Thank you, Jesper. So I'm gonna add a variable. I'm gonna call it aggro. Aggro. How do you spell aggro? Aggro. Is it 2 G's? Yes. Aggro. It's gonna make that a bool, or a boolean, as they call it. I'm gonna have that as false by default. If this doesn't show up, then make sure you have the compile first, the top left button here. So make sure to compile, and then you should have a default value here that you can set to false. And then what I'm gonna do is that as soon as we get an overlap, I'm gonna set that to true. So it's drag out, set, or as I did, because I didn't think, when you're dragging, if you hold Alt, then you get the set version. And similarly, if you hold Shift, no. If you hold Control, then you get the get version. So Alt for set, and Control for get. Or you can just drag out and hit set. Doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna set aggro to true. And then what we want to happen is that if we are aggroed, we want to move. So we want to if this bool here. So we can just drag out and either type if or just type branch. And we get this node here. So it takes a condition here. And if it's true, then it goes this way, and if it's false, it goes that way. So, very easy. So I'm just gonna if the bool. So I'm just gonna drag out aggro, and just pull that into condition there. So aggro will be our condition. So if aggro is true, we go this way, and if it's false, we go this way. So I'm just gonna, if aggro is true, we go into add actor while offset. So we will only move forward if we are aggroed. And let's make sure it works. Let's try it. Okay, so he doesn't move, and then as soon as I go into his collision sphere, then it starts moving. A fierce enemy. All right. So that's branches. That's how you do if statements in blueprints. Bye bye. Right.
Lunch.
Sorry. Was there a question?
Lunch.
Ah, yes. Yes, I'm super hungry. I'm sure you guys must be too. So let's take lunch. We went a little bit further, so let's take it until 13:05.
Well, can you show the node stuff
Yes.
real quick?
Rest it here over lunch. Cool. So I'll see you guys 13:05. So have a nice lunch. See you soon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I should probably stop recording. Whoops.